Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the podcast. Eden Zabari just named it HT Pod, and I think we might roll with it. Our first ever guest on this podcast is the Todd Michael Wilkinson.
It's wild creepy that you just said my middle name for the whole. You want to give everybody my social security number while you're at it?
Oh, maybe I know it.
This is a podcast, so you can't see what's happening right now, but it's very uncomfortable in this studio.
Well, we're getting started on the podcast, and we just want to, in this podcast, just speak to the people in HTLA that make the school what it is and just learn the inside scoop about them, learn about their life, their lore, and as you may all know, Mr. Wilkinson has a lot of dad lore, and we might as well get into it.
Okay.
So the first ever question. So, Mr. Wilkinson, we know a lot about your journeys in Venice, but where did you really grow up?
I grew up in West LA, so I was, not too far. Did you guys know that I almost died?
Tell us about this story.
They read me they did all the Catholic, last rites kind of things. Because when they cut my umbilical cord, it got infected and it went into my leg and my bone in my leg. I had a thing called osteomyelitis. It was like a bone infection. And they did all the Catholic things because they thought I was going to die. And that's actually what damaged my heart. And that's why I have a pig aortic valve.
So if you ate a pig, would that be cannibalism?
Just a little bit.
Just 2%.
And I do. I'm going to leave here. And I'm going to Leo's Taco Truck on Victory Boulevard.
On Woodley?
Yes, it is. It's the best part of
Well, speaking on your time outside of HTLA, how do you spend your time outside of HTLA? Oftentimes it feels like teaching is your side job.
I spend a lot of time, I try to spend a lot of time in the ocean. It brings me joy. I try to be physically active. I hike a lot. I like music a lot. I like to play music. I like to record music. I do a lot of that. I hang out with my friends. We go eat stuff, my family, all of that.
Any moment in particular recently that was fun?
This last weekend, this 3-day weekend, is January, and it was just so beautiful outside. And it was nice to be in the ocean and feel the beautiful, I felt very happy to live in Los Angeles.
That's really nice. Sometimes I feel really happy to live here too. Is it true that you surf with Mr. B?
No, so we've never been surfing together, but we've been diving together.
What's the difference?
So surfing is you're on top of the water, and then diving is
you're under the water?
Yeah, so we're actually going under the water, but we actually did it at the same place at Leo Carrillo. And diving for sea urchins, and then you eat them. And in Japanese food, it's called uni. It's the little orange kind of pasty sea creature that is very flavorful.
Interesting.
It's kind of fun. Mr. B's good at it. He knows what he's doing. Joaquin went with us one time, too.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about that. Well, furthermore, where did you, after your amazing high school experience...
So actually, I grew up in West LA, Sawtell, and then I moved to Sacramento when I was in high school. I actually started high school down here, but then I went to high school in Sacramento, and because my dad lived there, well, still does, and so I did most of my high school, basically 4 years of high school in Sacramento, and my dad still lives there. It's a neighborhood called South Sacramento. A lot of good, kind of cool stuff going on there. And then I lived in Midtown Sacramento for a long time as well.
Interesting. And then after high school, where did you go to college?
So after high school, I stayed in Sacramento, and I went to junior college. And if you guys ever seen the movie Lady Bird, it's kind of funny because they reference the school that I went to junior college at, called Sacramento City College. I went there. I was working full-time, going to school. And then I transferred to CSU Sacramento for both my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in literature.
And between all of that, were you touring?
So yeah. So I did like we started recording music in Sacramento, just like at home and stuff, and then later my friends and I recorded some music at the first recording studio we went to was in outside of Seattle. It's called Bear Creek, and it's actually Woodinville, Washington, and we recorded a bunch of music with this guy named Terry Date, who's a really cool person, a good human being, and a very skilled engineer. And Bear Creek is like we had an apartment in Seattle, in like downtown Seattle, but then we also like stayed at this loft in Woodinville, and like it was kind of a cool like cabin like experience, and just like spending like 24 hours a day with your friends and just playing music in like a really beautiful, really, really great recording studio. And it was cool for me because like when we got there, one of the records right before we had been there was this band called Built to Spill had just recorded there, and like that's one of my favorite bands. And they had just recorded a bunch of like a record there called Keep It Like a Secret. And I love that record still.
That's pretty cool. So what parts of the US or the world did you tour in after the record made it?
I've toured. I think I've been to every state. I've never played in Florida. I've never been to Maine, and I've never played in Hawaii or Alaska, but I've been there. But I think I've played in almost every state. So I've been like across the states a bunch of times, and just like the West Coast. And I've been to a bunch of countries in Europe to play music. I never played music in Spain, but I went there and it's really cool there. In Portugal. And did a tour in Australia as well. And that was cool. I like traveling.
So while you were touring, was it on your trajectory to become a teacher by the end of it?
I was already teaching before that, actually. I think, I was teaching before that. I worked at, this is a little bit weird, but like I was teaching when I was still in school. I was working at a school where it was a non-public school, so all the students were on probation and like in residential like group homes. And so I was teaching there, and then went to record and like tour and all of that, and then came back and did some more teaching. And then there was times when I was in graduate school where I was on tour writing essays and stuff, and like on the tour bus and hotels and stuff. And I was really like, it just seemed like a really bizarre circumstance, and I appreciated the weirdness of it.
So at what age did you start teaching in your first middle or high school?
It was a high school, and I think I was probably 27 or 28, and I was teaching at that school. It's called Excelsior, and I don't think it exists anymore, but it was all group home kids, like kids, not group home kids, but kids that were in group homes. And it's cool because I'm still in touch with some of them, and like it was a very intense environment because like all of them were on probation for like stuff that getting in trouble. But for the most part, it was like they were just like normal kids that were just doing cool stuff, and maybe had some difficult circumstances.
So how many years have you been teaching?
1 million years.
Were all those million years you teaching literature and English?
Yeah, pretty much. I've taught, actually, while I was in graduate school, I taught in China, just really for one semester, but that was cool. And when I came back for now, I was teaching in Sacramento at I was a substitute teacher, but I did like consistent substitute work at this school, elementary school. And so I was studying literature in graduate school, but then I was working at an elementary school and as like a long-term sub. And like working with little kids was a trip. But then later I went to the work. It was kind of like a charter school, so like the elementary school, middle school, and high school. So I worked with some of those same kids like when they were in third grade, because the teacher was on leave, so I did a long-term sub-assignment in third grade. And then later I worked with those same kids when they were in high school. So like I knew their families, I knew their siblings, I knew everybody, and I knew them really well. And like that was really cool. Like you know, to have like to get to know somebody for several years and like see them go from being in third grade to like college is just a cool thing.
So what year were you teaching in China?
2007. That's a long time ago.
That was the year right before I was born.
I think 2008 was the year that they had the Olympics in China.
Oh.
I've had a lot of concussions. Yeah, it must have been 2008 because I think that they had the Olympics and so it was a very like intense time. Like there was a lot of optimism in the country. There was a lot of like economic activity and a lot of like they were building a lot of like stadiums and stuff. And it's funny because I think they like built them, used them like 3 times, and then they just kind of fell apart afterwards. But it was a cool time to be in China, and it's a very like chaotic like crazy place, but I liked it a lot. They also have a lot of skateboard parks.
So all of all your years teaching from China to America in high school and in schools for people in residential and on probation, what would you say is your best moment teaching?
Dang, one moment?
Or maybe a few. It's a question, not an assignment.
Like the time that we read in classes, like the silent reading time at the beginning of class and advisory. I'm reading this book right now and by this author, I think his name's George Saunders, and he's writing about teaching literature. And I mean, without being, well, no, I don't think I can do this without being corny, but I know that as a teacher, if I'm like encouraging like people to be like thoughtful and pay attention to the world around them and like the way that you have to in order to read literature at a high level. So to any time I'm successful at that, and then like also encouraging to like people to find their own voice and like articulate their ideas thoughtfully and communicate them effectively, like that's what English teachers do. And like if you are ever successful at that, the world will undoubtedly be a better place. At the same time, like I think that there's a lot of other jobs in the world where people like can use things for negative ways, and I just so I'm glad that like I definitely feel like I chose the right career and one that does make a positive contribution to the world. But the best moment of my teaching career was the letter that you wrote me for PJ Harvey, about PJ Harvey.
Oh, everyone check out Mr. Wilkinson's. What did you post it on your Instagram or something?
Yes.
Yes.
That might, I mean.
I think I stumbled across it and I reposted it on my spam account. Yeah, because PJ Harvey is the best. Everyone go listen to her. I think that should be your best teaching moment.
It should be.
So would you say English is your favorite thing to teach?
Yeah, I mean, I like it when people read, like when we all read the same thing and then people see things that I didn't see. And it makes me feel like I'm getting smarter.
I think that's just what English is.
Hopefully.
When did you decide that you were going to get into English and not any other subject?
When I was in junior college. Because I didn't really think, like my high school teachers definitely would be surprised to see, like, know that I'm doing this right now. And I didn't feel like they valued the things that my friends and I were contributing, like in high school. And it's funny though, because like now those same friends have become really successful in a lot of ways. And I don't think that we were deliberately trying to be contrarian or like oppositional, like just for the sake of being oppositional. But I think that like my friends and I came from like a very like DIY mindset of skateboarding, playing music, and like we just wanted to do things in a way that was creative and fulfilling for us. And in the long term, it has been very like personally fulfilling, but also like fulfilling in a lot of ways. So I don't know. I mean, I think that when I was in high school, that didn't get like valued very much. But when I was in college, I remember I had like a college English teacher who had taught at my high school, and he was just a really cool person. And like, I think like the way that we approached literature in junior college and then later was a lot more interesting for me than the things that we were doing in high school.
Going back to that topic of your teachers would be surprised of what you're doing now, what were you up to when you were our age? And what decade was it? Or century?
Damn, it was actually a different millennium. So I feel like people get a lot of satisfaction out of calling me old. And I feel like a lot of people, like, that's the way they make sense out of things. Like there's a lot of stuff on the internet about like generations and like how this generation is this and this generation is that. And I think it's kind of a superficial take, but I'm all here for the jokes. But yeah, so it was a different century, a different millennium, a different decade. I started high school in the 80s.
Whoa.
I finished high school in 1992. And during that time, I was listening to a lot of music. I was going to a lot of shows to see bands play and starting to play music, skateboarding a lot, riding bikes a lot, and trying to just be friends. But like, I feel like I had like a wide appetite for like just everything, like music, food, different friends and different places. And I wanted to like go out and do a lot of things.
What is a funny concussion story that you have?
Ooh, man.
Or all of them?
I chipped my tooth at a Primus concert.
What year was that?
Probably 1990, 1991. If you know who Primus is, good for you. If you don't, Google it. But yeah, I jumped off the stage and I chipped my tooth. A concussion, that wasn't a concussion though, but like famous concussion story about Tanya was like I was trying to impress this little girl when I was in like probably fourth grade, and I was trying to jump through a car, like they rolled the windows down, like the passenger side. I was trying to jump from the passenger side through the whole car and out the other side, and like I hit my chest on the first time, so I had to like jump higher the next time, and then I hit the top of the car with my head. And I remembered so clearly that I was like the thought that was in my head was that I'm not going to feel normal for a really long time. And it didn't start bleeding for a few minutes. And then they took me in the house, and then everybody was coming towards me saying, "Little Toddy." And then I was in the middle of a great story, and then Alex Lim walked in.
You guys can stay.
Come here.
It's okay. I was wondering if Eden was here.
No.
Oopsie. Bye, Dad. Bye, Poodle.
Bye, Nepo baby.
I'm going to edit that out.
Keep it in, Nepo
Okay.
baby.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
And everybody was coming towards me, like, because I got, I hit in the head. And then everybody, like, jumped backwards. Because they said that, like, blood started squirting out of the top of my head. I got a lot of stitches. It was a lot of stitches. They said it was like a flap on the top of my head, and they made it sound like this.
Ew. Ew.
So that was one concussion. I've had several others.
What's the second most memorable concussion?
I don't remember.
Gosh, I wonder why.
That was like subtle humor.
Well, speaking on your chipped tooth,
I've had a lot of those as well.
aside from that amazing band, what are other of your favorite pieces of media, whether it's music or movies, etc.?
Ooh. There's so much music and there's so many cool things that it's a little bit overwhelming. Like I love magazines and I love essays in magazines. I think that's like one of my favorite forms of media. I love short experimental movies. I love long, silly feature films. What's the last movie I watched that was like super fun? Wait, what's the last movie I went to? Oh, I went to see, The Shining at the Hollywood Theater, the Hollywood
Amazing
Chinese
film,
Theater.
great taste.
Yeah, great score by Wendy Carlos. Do your Googles. Google Wendy. Do you know about Wendy Carlos?
I think. What would you say is your favorite film?
There Will Be Blood.
Ah, classic.
Also has a very good score by Johnny Greenwood.
Who's your favorite artist?
Musician?
Yeah.
Oof. I have to like break that into categories. I think that I think the artist that cuts the deepest, and it's not just one person, but like
Team Sleep.
no. John Coltrane I love so much, and a lot of it has to do with the piano player, McCoy Tyner, and a lot of it has to do with the drummer. And like the drummer's name is Elvin Jones, and the bass player's name is Jimmy Garrison. So like John Coltrane's quartet, like to me, plays the music that is like aspiring to be the most like ambitious thing, and like reaching it. For a lot of my like, even when I was a little kid, I love the Beach Boys, and like I think Brian Wilson is just like really cool. But then there's so many other like from day to day, so many other like kinds of music that it really appeal to me. Like rock music, from rock to hip hop to electronic stuff to ambient music and just noise. I love a lot. It's a hard question. Maybe I need to say something right now that sounds iconic.
Speaking of the Will quotes, what was your reaction to that article up on the HTLA circuit, by the way?
So my reaction, well, it's not the first time. Like that's like there's something about. I think I'm just like I don't
Iconic.
know. Well, no, but somehow like that kind of like. There's always been students in my classes that like, oh, we got to write that down. He said another one, and I don't know why. Like I feel like sometimes when you're communicating with people, like I think you have to say things in like a fresh, new way to like get people's attention. And like it's fun for me, and like I think like things that sound like you're being mean. I hope people know that I like them and like I care about them. But sometimes
the thought behind your quote is just this reactionary rage bait.
No, I'm trying to just like communicate effectively, and sometimes I think you have to say things in like ways that get people's attention. And according to Neil Postman,
Niche reference.
the medium, well, it's actually Marshall McLuhan, but the medium is the message. And when we are in the media environment in which we are in, sometimes you have to say things that really get people's attention by saying things that are like sensational. And then you can draw them in to more nuanced forms of communication.
So, with all of your lore, you have acquired the wisdom of the universe.
True.
And your quotes are just the communication of that wisdom. And you will continue becoming an even wiser Toddias Michael Wilkinson.
I feel like the universe speaks through me.
Whoa.
I'm just a vehicle.
Wow. Another Will quote. So what are your plans for that future of the greater wisdom?
Oh man, there's so many things I want to do. I want to travel more. I want to eat more good food. I want to improve the studio at HTLA and give us more cool stuff that we can work with. I want to improve the way that we like the school culture to like make sure that like people are using things responsibly and then like really using them a lot to make a lot of cool stuff, and connecting to like the LA community and just like the arts community, and building with like continuing to build like relationships with like people that I've worked with in the past, and like keeping in touch with alumni and like building like where they off of wherever they go and do cool things. I also, this is a thing I haven't talked a lot about, but like I want to build a partnership with CSU Northridge to have interns from there help us with writing. We're working on that. I want to start presenting that at English teaching conferences. I want to get all the money for me so I can be rich.
What are you going to do with all of that money? Are you going to save it up for your retirement?
I'm going to buy 27 Priuses. I'm going to drive a different color Prius every day.
And when will that be?
And then I'm going to start an Instagram account of like Prius Flex.
At Prius _ Toddias Michael Wilkinson.
Strong arm flex emoji.
So how old are you going to be when you retire?
Well, when I retire, I'm going to start a SoundCloud. And this might actually, for the brain rot universe in which we live, this actually might make me more money than anything. I'm going to be a SoundCloud rapper flexing Priuses, and like physically, like I have a visceral aversion to personally myself actually rapping, but I think that if I can like find a way to have like trap beats with lots of hi-hats,
I can help you out
like
with that.
64 triplet hi-hats, and I'm gonna rap about how many Priuses I have.
But you don't even own your Prius anymore. You don't even have a Prius anymore.
In my heart, I do.
Yeah. So when you're going to be, how old are you going to be when you retire? Like 65, 70?
I don't know, something like that.
So that's like in what? That's like in a year? 2 years maybe? Well, anyways, thank you so much for being the first guest of the amazing podcast of HTLA.
The medium is the message, and this medium's message is generally toxic masculinity.
Wise
And
words.
I got caught up in the moment. But peace and love to all.
And we'll see you next episode where we'll be interviewing another teacher. You'll see who.
Just think if they're as funny and insightful as I am. Good luck.
Perhaps. We'll see you all next week.